Hi all, I am Disha Shukla and welcome to the session. In this session we are going to discuss about GPRS. GPRS stands for General Packet Radio Service. It is a packet-based wireless communication service that promises data rates from 56 up to 104 kilobits per second and continuous connection to the internet for mobile phones and the computer users. The higher data rates allow the users to take part in the video conferences and interact with the multimedia websites and similar applications using the mobile handheld devices such as the notebook computers. GPRS is based on Global System for Mobile Communication and components existing services such as circuit switched cellular phone connections and the short message service, that is the SMS. In theory, GPRS packet-based service costs the user less than the circuit-switched services since the communication channels are being used on a shared use or as packet as needed basis rather than dedicated to only one user at a time. If it is also easier to make the applications available to the mobile users because the faster data rate means that the middleware currently needed to be adapted applications to the slower speed of wireless system and no longer be needed. As the GPRS mobile users of virtual private networks have been able to access the private network continuously over the wireless network rather than through a routed dial-up connections, GPRS is used there. So what is GPRS? GPRS is a packet-oriented data service for IP and X.25 over GSM networks. Enables packet-switched services on the resources of the already existing GSM networks infrastructure. It deploys a new channel coding scheme and time slotting bundling. GPRS is capable of providing a single user throughput rates of up to 160 kbps. It provides an always-on functionality without the continuous consumption of the resources. It requires a major hardware upgrade in the GSM network and it requires a new mobile station. And it is a step towards 3G network, that is, it is also called a 2.5G. So what is the GPRS architecture? So this is the whole GPRS architecture. It is somewhat similar to the GSM architecture, but it has some differences. That is, we have a new node called SGSN node and also a new node called the GGSN node. We'll see each of them in detail. Like see, with the GPRS providing the additional connectivity in the terms of packet data, there are naturally a number of upgrades needed to the network architecture. A number of new elements are needed for the network, but this can operate alongside the existing elements, means that the GPRS capability is an upgrade to the network and not a completely new network structure. The GPRS network includes the major network entities like MSC, GMSC, SGSN, GGSN and PCU. So the main new network architecture entitles that are added here are SGSN, that is the Serving GPRS Support Node. The SGSN forms a gateway to the services within the network. The next is the GGSN, that is the Gateway GPRS Support Node. The GGSN forms the gateway to the outside world, and the PUC, that is the Packet Control Unit. The Packet Control Unit or the PCU detects whether the data is to be routed to the packet switched or the circuit switched network. So from the diagram, it can be seen that the GPRS network added some extra elements to the GSM network to enable it to carry the packet data. The PCU added to the base station networks routed the data according to whether it was packeted or circuit switched. So what is this is how you have transferred from GSM to GPRS. That is, we have got the new SGSN and the GGSN nodes. So what are they actually? So the SGSN or the Serving GPRS node elements of the GPRS network provides a number of takes focused on the IP element of the overall system. It provides a variety of services to the mobile, that is packet routing and transfer, mobility management, attach and detach, logical linking management, authentication, charging data, etc. This is a location register within the SGSN, and this stores the location information, that is the current cell, current VLR. It also stores the user's profile, that is IMSI number, packet address used for all the GPRS users registered within the particular SGSN. So basically SGSN handles the PDP, that is the packet data protocol context for the mobile stations. It determines the quality of service assigned to the user. It routes the packet to the mobile stations. It pages the MSs when the data is to be sent, and it covers the handover or the cell change. And it also stores the subscribers data for all the MSCs in the location area, that is LA, and it stores not acknowledged packet in case of a cell change during an ongoing packet data transfer. That is, if some packets are not acknowledged, then it note downs, it stores all those not acknowledged packet of the whenever a cell change is taking place. So it also it also gives the security, that is authentication by the means of identity or the equipment check. It provides PTMSI is allocated by the SGSN, that is the address that we have is allocated by the SGSN, and it also performs the ciphering. What does charging mean in terms of SGSN of GPRS? So charging here says that together with the GGSN, the SGSN collects the CDR, that is the call data record. Whatever calls you make, all the data related to that call are collected by the SGSN with the help of GGSN. It is opposed to the GGSN, the SGSN collects the CDRs, that is the call data records, for the use of the own network resources. These CDRs are forwarded to the charging gateway via an IP based intra-PLMN backbone. So further, what is a GGSN? That is the gateway GPRS support node. So the GGSN gate is one of the most important entities within the GPRS network architecture. The GGSN organizes the internetworking between the GPRS network and the external packet switched network to which the mobiles may be connected. This may include both Internet and X.25 networks. The GGSN can be considered to be a combination of a gateway, router and a firewall, and it hides the internal network to the outside. In operation, when the GGSN receives the data addressed to a specific user, it checks if the user is active, then forwards the data. In the opposite direction, the packet data from the mobile is routed to the right destination network by the GGSN. So typically GGSN handles the interconnect. It interconnects a PLMN to the external world, that is Internet. It routes the IP packets to the appropriate SGSN, and if the MS changes the SGSN during the ready mode, the GGSN is used as a data packet buffer, that is it will store those data packets. It activates and deactivates the PDP context or the session management. GGSN stores the subscribers data for the active MS, that is the active mobile station. It provides the security like firewall and screening. And for charging, the GGSN will, in addition to the SGSN, collect the CDRs, that is the call data records, and forward them to the charging gateway, that is CG. And it, in opposition to the SGSN, the GGSN will collect the call data based on the usage of the external network resource. In other words, the charges that arise from the other packet data or the mobile network operators are collected by the GGSN. So now comes the home location register, that is the new fields that have been added to the HLR in order to serve the GPRS network are IMSI number is still the reference key. The SGSN number is added to it. We saw different kinds of addresses and identifiers in GSM. So all those addresses and identifiers are basically stored in your home location register. So for an GPRS network, there are some additional fields that have been added, and IMSI number is still the reference key. So the number that has been added is the SGSN number. The SSN address of the SGSN currently serving the mobile station. The SGSN address is the IP address of the SGSN that is currently serving the mobile station. The GGSN list, the GGSN number and the optional IP addresses are related to the GGSN, which can be connected or contacted when activity from the MS is detected. So for each PDP context, PDP type, PDP address, QoS profile, VPLMN address and access point name, all this data is collected for each and every PDP context in the home location register. Moving forward, the base station subsystem that we have in GPRS has an LA is divided into RAs. Each RAs contain one or more cells. Now what is LA? LA is the location area, that is a particular area is called the location area. For example, here as you can see that we have an LA1 and LA2. These are the two different location areas. Now all of these are divided into RAs. So what is an RA? RA is a routing area. So it is a subset of LA, that is many RAs combined to get an LA. So in an RA, the RAI is broadcasted as the system information. So when a MS is crossing a routing area, the routing area border, the MS will initiate a RA update procedure, and the new elements, that is the CCU and the PCU, are added to the BSS in order to support the new coding scheme introduced by the GPRS. The next point is called the PCU, that is the Packet Control Unit. Again, the PCU or the Packet Control Unit is a hardware router that is added to the BSC. It differentiates the data destined by the standard GSM network and the data destined by the GPRS network. The PCU itself may be a separate physical entity, or more often these days is an incorporated into the base station controller. Thereby it saves the additional hardware costs. So basically PCU is interfaces the new GPRS core network to the existing GSM base station subsystem. It converts the packet data coming from SGSN into a PCU frame that have the same format as the TRAU frame. So what is a TRAU frame? So TRAU is a transcoder and rate adaptation unit. It performs the transcoding function for speech channel and rate adaptation for the data channels in the GSM. These PCU frames are transparently routed through the BSC and towards BTS. The BTS needs to determine the respective coding scheme and other options before processing a PCU frame. It takes over all the GPRS radio related control functions from the BSC. So the next thing that we have in the GPRS architecture is the mobile station. So there are three different classes of mobile stations that are identified in GPRS. So what is a class 1? Class A, it supports simultaneous monitoring and operation of the packet switched and circuit switched services. Class B mobile stations supports simultaneous monitoring but does not provide simultaneous operations of the circuit switched and the packet switched services. Whereas Class C, it supports either circuit switched or the packet switched monitoring and operation at a given time. So these are the three different types of mobile stations that are defined in the GPRS network. So summing up the whole thing, the GPRS network upgrading can be said that one of the key elements for any network operator is the cost of the capital expenditure to buy and establish a network. CAPEX costs are normally very high for a new network, and the operators endeavor to avoid this and use an existing network that may have to make the optimum use of any capital. In addition to the capex, there are operational costs, that is OPEX. These costs are for general maintenance and other operational costs that may be incurred. Increasing the efficiency and reliability will reduce the OPEX costs. Any upgrade such as that from the GSM to the GPRS will require new investment, and operators are keen to keep this investment minimum. The upgrades for the GPRS network are not as large as starting from the scratch and rolling out a new network. The GPRS network adds to the existing GSM network. The main new entities required within the network are the SGSN and the GGSN, and these are required as the starting point. The base station subsystems require some updates. The main one is the addition of the PCU. Some modifications may be required to the BTS, but often only a software upgrade is required, and this may often be achieved remotely. In this way, the costs are kept to a minimum amount. The GPRS network architecture can be viewed as an evaluation of the GSM network carrying both circuit switched and packet data. The GPRS network architecture is also used as the basis for the 3G UMTS network. In this way, network operators could evolve their network through GPRS and possibly edge to the full 3G network without having to replace and install more new equipments than that are absolutely necessary. So this is all about the GPRS network architecture and what are the new things that have been added into the GPRS architecture besides the GSM architecture. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Until then, keep learning.